What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Den. Why do I call it the Den? Well, the Den is just kind of like a safe place where you just want to hang out with your guys or your ladies, your sports fans, and it just kind of talks whatever comes to mind. Um, Today's episode, like I said yesterday, my main focus is just putting out good content. And this episode, I guess I'm kind of hypocritical. I don't have a lot of notes for this episode. Just have a couple talking points I'm going to go through, but I want that Detroit Lions Super Bowl. I know you guys do too. I know everybody who's watched the Detroit Lions for any really amount of time. You know, we've all had our hearts broken. We've been through the struggles. We've been through the hurt. We've been through the pain. And real quick, I'm just going to share a story with you guys. And some of you might have heard this before, so it's an older story, but it's one of my favorite Detroit Lions stories. So in 2008, when the Detroit Lions went 0-16, I luckily and unluckily, I guess, because that's the last time I missed a game was 2008. I was in basic training for the Army, and it was right during football season. End of August is when I left, and I think it was like every Tuesday, our drill sergeants would come into our bay, and we kind of get a little bit of what they call human time. And everybody would ask about NFL scores. And me and a couple other guys who were from Michigan, we raised our hands. Hey, did the Detroit Lions win this week? Every single week they would say no. And it got to like week, I don't know, like 11 or 12. And I was like, man, every week they come in here and they say that the Lions haven't won. Like, are they messing with me? And, you know, when you get to call home, you only got a couple minutes and you don't really want to talk football. You know, you want to know what's going on with your family. So when I graduated basic training, my parents came down. The very first thing I asked my dad was, hey, how many games did the Lions win? And he just had this sad look on his face, and he just said, they didn't win a single game. And that's when it hit me like, man, the drill sergeants were not messing with me the whole time. Like, that was just absolutely brutal to hear that they lost every single game, thinking that we were part of some joke. Like, I thought maybe our drill sergeants were like Packers or Bears fans or something, but here we are on the eve-ish, not the eve, I guess I wish it was the eve, but on the horizon of the 2024 season, and the Detroit Lions are Super Bowl contenders. In my lifetime, I don't think we've ever started a season being Super Bowl favorites. Last year, we had a lot of expectations. A lot of people, you know, we wanted to take the step and win the division, and that was kind of like the crown jewel. That was like, you know, the ceiling. Not for me. I don't want divisions. I want Super Bowl trophies. I want that parade down Woodward. Especially the other night when I was watching the NHL playoffs, the Stanley Cup, and seeing Florida win for the first time in their franchise history. And I guess it's just kind of been sitting with me ever since then. Like, what's it going to take not only for the city of Detroit to get a championship, but mainly the Detroit Lions? I think the Lions are a team that just, no matter who you cheer for, everyone kind of just gravitates toward the Lions. I know we're called Hockey Town, and trust me, I love my Tigers. I always wear the Old English D. It's one of my favorite logos in all of sports. Love my Red Wings. Pistons. I don't really want to touch that right now, but when the city of Detroit is really thriving and the Lions are winning, there is literally just no better place. There's no better city in the world. I truly believe that. So what's it going to take to win the Super Bowl? For the first time in a long, long time, our depth is absolutely amazing. Our starting depth compared to any roster in the NFL, the only team I think really, really, truly competes with us from a starter's position is probably the San Francisco 49ers, who we should have beat. Water under the bridge, time to move on. We lost. Take your L's like a man. We got to move on, get ready for next season. I am going to talk about the 49ers kind of in a second here when I get to my next point. But roster for roster, the Detroit Lions have one of the best rosters in the NFL. Like, if you're from another team, I know we got some Bears fans that come here sometimes and they like to talk a little shit. I've seen some Rams fans lately on some of my videos. I'm not here to argue or debate. It's just, you know, I've said nice things about a lot of other teams. You have to admit the Detroit Lions have a loaded roster from quarterback to strong safety. Like, we're solid. We do have some questions about backups, but our starters were locked in. Best offensive line in football, best running back doing football, a top 5 wide receiver, a top 5 tight end. Speaking of tight ends, I saw Madden had Sam Laporta ranked as like their 14th tight end ranking. in their rankings, like there's a reason why I don't buy Madden. It's for shit like that. You're named 13 tight ends better than Sam Laporta right now. But anyway, Sam Laporta, top 5 tight end in the league. Our defensive line got a little tweaked. We got DJ Reader, secondary completely revamped. Like, guys, we are loaded at every single position. We have playmakers at every level of the field. And on top of our dominant offensive line, we have a quarterback in Jared Goff who's surgical when he's protected and has time. When he can get through his reads, watch a defense develop, let a play develop, read a defense, read and react. He's very, very underrated. Now, he's not Tom Brady. He doesn't have the athleticism of Patrick Mahomes. He's been to a Super Bowl. He should have went to a Super Bowl last year. He is the guy that can get it done. Like, a lot of people are worried, oh, he got his big contract, he's going to fall off now. I don't think that about Jared Goff. I truly think he has a chip on his shoulder from how the Rams treated him, how his old coach dogged him and they ran him out of town. And he came to Detroit and he's had, maybe not stats wise, but some of his best NFL years have been with the Detroit Lions the last 3 years. Depth, huge bonus for the Detroit Lions having depth. Another way we can win the Super Bowl, and this isn't exactly a hot take, this isn't like groundbreaking news or anything, but avoiding injuries. And I know every team wants to avoid injuries. Obviously, the New York Jets come to mind with how their expectations were last year with Aaron Rodgers. He goes down like 13 seconds into a game, whatever it was. If we could just avoid injuries, but like I said, we have a lot of good depth. There are some places where we might be a little thin, but overall, I'm just not worried. If we could just avoid some injuries, get through training camp, we're going to be okay. The schedule plays, obviously, it's a massive role in getting to the playoffs. The Lions have a harder schedule this year, going against some number one opponents, some division winners. Our schedule is loaded, but like I said, we have great depth. We're going to be tested because we're going against some other NFL teams that are very, very, very solid. My only concern with the schedule is we have like a very early bye. Week 5 is very, very early. I'd like to have like a week 9, 10, somewhere right smack in the middle. We have like one of the earliest bye weeks. I just want to have the guys healthy, rested, going from week 5 and playing the rest of the season all the way to the Super Bowl. That's a long stretch. That's really my only concern about the schedule. I love all the primetime games. We only play, I think I could be wrong on this. I think we play like one game outdoors, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe it's 2, something like that. It's a very, very small number. So Jared Goff obviously thrives in home atmospheres and domes, and we're good there. I think we play like Lambeau and San Francisco, if I'm not mistaken. Those are only 2 outdoor games. I could be wrong on that. Someone leave it in the comments. But the schedule, just having that week 5 bye is kind of it's not like I'm not sounding the alarms or panicking or freaking out. Like, this is the NFL. Dan Campbell's going to have the boys ready to go. It's just me personally. I would prefer a later bye week, but there's nothing I can do about it. So we just got to, pony up, push all our chips in, and let's just play ball. Like I said, my next key is getting a path that runs through Detroit. And what I mean by that is home field advantage throughout the playoffs. I saw something a couple weeks ago. It was Lamar Jackson. He was being asked about, I think it was when the schedule came out, so about a month ago. He was being asked about how he felt playing the Kansas City Chiefs week 1 and how important that game was. And his vibe that I kind of got, and I think he said something along the lines of, it's just another game. We just have to go out there and play. It's not just another game, because if I'm the Detroit Lions and I'm playing another NFC favorite, a defending champion, that game means everything. That game could come down to seeding. So I'm looking at games like when we play the 49ers or we play the Seahawks. The Seahawks, they had that tiebreaker over us a couple years ago when we lost to them. Like, you have to win those games. Every single game matters. Seeding does matter in the NFL. If that NFC championship game last year was in Detroit and the San Francisco 49ers were coming here, there is not a doubt in my mind that the outcome is different. Now, like I said, San Francisco has a loaded roster from top to bottom, very similar to us. I think if that game's played in Detroit, we're staying in Detroit. We're partying. We're getting ready for the Super Bowl. We're going to play the Kansas City Chiefs, a team that we beat in week 1. And I just home field advantage does matter. So when I heard like a superstar like Lamar Jackson kind of nonchalantly answer it, and just the way he said it, it was just like, man, like when you're playing especially NFC opponents, like that affects everything. It affects your whole season. And it literally just made me think of when we lost to the Seahawks 2 years ago. Like, it kept us out of the playoffs. If we had won that Seattle game, we wouldn't have needed them to lose to the Rams in that final week. And when we go into Green Bay in that year and we beat them, we go to the playoffs as a wild card team, and anything can happen. So every game matters, man. If we can just, like I said, it kind of all boils together with staying healthy, tough schedule. Our depth will be tested, winning important games. It all kind of just comes together. So leave it in the comments if there's another, I guess, area or a talking point that you think is more important for the Detroit Lions predictions or season. Leave it in the comments. And I will say this in closing: our expectations is to get to the Super Bowl. So I know this says predictions on the title. Guys, I want to say that the Detroit Lions are going to win the Super Bowl. Trust me, I want it more than anything else in this world. Let's get there. Let's just see what happens. I'm not going to be content with just getting there. I want that win. But for me to come on here and say, without a doubt in my mind, the Detroit Lions are winning the Super Bowl, trust me, I wish I had that kind of confidence. I truly believe we are one of the best teams in the NFL, one of the best, maybe 3 or 4. We have a chance. My predictions are we at least win the division, we win some playoff games, we get to the Super Bowl, and I want to win that bad boy. So it's hard for me to put a prediction out there, but trust me, every single fiber in my body wants that Lombardi trophy. I will be there at the celebration. I will be there at the parade. I will be out of my mind, beside myself, guys. Leave a comment, hit that like button, stick around. We'll be back later with another show.